They say you don't really know a person until they call the cops on your boat party. But let me tell you, you haven't lived until your HOA president tries to ruin your Saturday with a SWAT team vibe and you turn her whole world upside down with a single sheet of paper. Yeah, that's how it started. A sun-soaked afternoon on Lake Silverpine. Just me, my best friends, 25 of us laughing and blasting classic rock from a pontoon boat cooler packed with ice beers, clinking together like a promise. And for a few hours, Crest Haven actually felt like it was worth every overpriced square foot. But if you know anything about these HOA types, you know they can't stand watching other people have fun, especially if they're not the ones controlling it. So there we are, not bothering a soul, and out of nowhere, here comes Pamela. Werrick, think helmet hair, lemon face shoes that probably cost more than my grill, marching right down the sandy bank like she's storming the beaches at Normandy, except instead of a rifle, she's armed with a cell phone and a laminated rule book. "What in God's name do you think you're doing?" she shrieks, as if laughter's a crime against the HOA. Meanwhile, her husband's back by their golf cart, already calling reinforcements. Pamela's the kind of person who finds kids for biking too loud and fines you for grass an inch too tall, and man, her voice could curdle milk. She starts hollering about violations and pulls out her phone, dialing 911 so fast you'd think we'd set fire to her azaleas. 15 minutes later, here comes Officer Powell, poor guy, early 30s, decent, always looks like he'd rather be anywhere else. "Pamela again," he mutters as he steps out, glancing over at our perfectly legal, drama-free boat party. "Sorry, Ryan," he says, already flipping open his ticket book. "I gotta write you up for disturbing the peace. $200. And there's Pamela, arms folded, lips pursed in that smug smile like she just hit the HOA lottery. My buddy Derek, who's been my ride or die since college, isn't having it. She's finding us for breathing. At this point, he says loud enough for Pamela to hear, and her smirk only gets wider. As my friends start packing up, I notice Susan Harper watching from her porch. She got slammed with a $500 fine last month over a tree branch that hung 6 inches past her property line. That's Pamela's idea of keeping order. Susan gives me a nod, the kind that says, "Hang in there, man. You're not the only one. Even the fisherman Pamela once fined for trespassing on the public lake told me, 'Watch yourself, Ryan.' But I've never been good at keeping my head down, especially with bullies." That night, I did some digging, like deep dive into Crest Haven's bylaws. Turns out Lake Silverpine not under HOA control at all. The lake's federal managed by authorities who don't care about Pamela's power trips. I started backing up every document, every email, every rule. If she wanted a fight, she was about to get it. Come Monday, Pamela's already posted bright yellow flyers everywhere. No unauthorized parties. All lake activities must be pre-approved. Derek texts me photos with all sorts of creative curses, but it's Officer Powell's warning that really sticks with me. "Not done with you yet, kid," Pamela hisses as she hands me the ticket. If only she knew. Tuesday night's emergency HOA meeting is standing room only. Pamela's got her PowerPoint out, giant letters screaming "protecting our community." She starts rambling about troublemakers turning our peaceful lake into a personal playground. She flashes a photo of my boat on the big screen, edited to look like we're throwing a rager instead of playing Uno. Then she announces all lake activities now need HOA approval and a $50 fee. The crowd mutters, but nobody wants to challenge her. She even hints about unsavory activities at my parties, and the next morning, half the neighborhood's side-eyeing me like I'm Pablo Escobar. By Wednesday, I'm the community pariah. Invitations disappear. Neighbors won't look at me, all thanks to Pamela's email blast about credible drug reports. Derek swings by, shows me photos he's taken. Pamela, her husband, in some shady suit meeting by the lake, gesturing toward those weird barrels Jake had mentioned earlier. Pamela's mask slips in those photos. She looks scared, not just mad. Something's up. Later, Susan knocks on my door. "I work at First National Bank," she whispers, hands trembling. Pamela's husband signed a big contract with a waste management company, illegal lake dumping. The real authority is the Federal Lake Authority, not the HOA. Armed with that, I make calls, get confirmation, and by Friday I've got proof. Pamela's rules mean zip, and she's been harassing the feds for months, begging for real power. Director Hargrove of the Federal Lake Authority basically told her to take a hike. I request a formal permit for community gatherings signed and sealed by Hargrove. But Pamela isn't giving up. She hands me a letter threatening legal action, then goes door to door with a petition to have me labeled a community threat. It's fear-mongering at its worst. Tom, a quiet neighbor she fined for mailbox paint, tells me I can't afford another fine. That's what living under Pamela's thumb does, turns everyone into prisoners. Finally, it all comes to a head at the next HOA meeting. The room is tense, whispers flying. Susan stands up, hands shaking, and lays it all out. Pamela's fines, the forged authority, the waste contract. I pull out Director Hargrove's permit and wave it for everyone to see. This is the real deal, I say. Pamela's been lying to you. The lake is federal. She has no power here. Pamela tries to bluster her way through it, but neighbors start Googling matching signatures, whispering. The crowd turns. Tom even stands up and claps. For the first time, Pamela looks genuinely scared. She lashes out, calls the permit a fake, threatens legal action, but the momentum is gone. Susan drops the bomb about the illegal dumping contract. Pamela goes pale, tries to storm out, but I'm ready. I've been recording everything. Looking forward to sharing this with the feds, I say. By the next week, federal investigators are involved. Pamela's husband is in hot water, and hazmat teams are at the lake. Channel 7 leads the evening news with HOA president accused of toxic dumping. Pamela's meltdown goes viral. The board votes her out, and for the first time in years, neighbors start acting like neighbors again. Sure, some folks are slow to trust, but the tides are turning. Susan is elected president. All Pamela's fines are voided, and the lake cleanup begins. Federal agents find evidence of years of dumping, and Pamela's reign of terror ends with her in handcuffs, screaming about property values. A few months later, Lake Silverpine hosts its biggest party ever. 3 pontoons lashed together, kids fishing, laughter everywhere. Tom's kids catch their first fish since the bans. Susan brings a cake shaped like a federal permit, and even Director Hargrove shows up to promise new protections for the lake. I look around at the faces, neighbors who were scared, angry, divided, finally smiling again, and I know this fight was worth every second. Pamela and her crew got what they deserved, but the real victory was for Crest Haven. We got our community back, and we remembered what it meant to stand up together. So if you've got a Pamela in your neighborhood, don't back down. Document everything, know your rights, and remember bullies only win when we let them. Tell me your story down below. Let's remind each other that justice is possible even in the wild world of HOAs.